Hey everybody, how is everybody this evening? I wanted to come on here this evening and talk about something completely different. The other day I made a video, and in that video I mentioned spiritual warfare. And I wanted to kind of touch on that just a little bit. I'm trying to type something in and it's like lagging so badly. That some people might say I'm crazy, and I've been called worse, but that's kind of what I'm getting at here. It's things that are thrown in our path, roadblocks, or things intended to throw us off, things intended to cause chaos and just problems in our lives. It it can lead to a good thing, and it can lead to a bad thing. It's according to how you look at it and how you go about dealing with that. Now, we all know, and I've said this a couple of different times, I think what's going on here in the country, in the world, with, and like I said, I'm not here to talk about politics, but you kind of have to mention a few things to get to what you're talking about, is when the leader of a country decides to take money that the country is already well over their, their ability to spend. And they take very, very, very large sums of money and give it to another country while their own people are suffering. Americans have never known about true starvation. Yes, we have people in this country who are very poor. We have people in this country who go daily without, the bare necessities of life. But there are food banks. And I spoke to some people the other day who volunteer. I haven't volunteered in a while now. They do things a little bit differently now than they used to. But I was talking to her and she said, it's getting overwhelming. People are coming in wanting 4 and 5 and 6 food boxes, and we have to take their word for it that they're taking them back home to grandma or cousin or brother. And they're getting ready to cut back on that, and they're getting ready to tell people, unless you bring something written that you're getting this for a disabled person who cannot drive or who has some disability, we cannot give you food boxes for multiple people, because they think that people are taking advantage. And the need is so overwhelming that people who never dreamed 2 or 3 years ago, or even maybe 6 months ago, that they would ever need to go to a place like that, to these food distribution centers, and get something, are now having to come, and there are more and more people showing up than they had before. And I know people myself. I've overheard people talk about, oh, I go and get mine at A, and then the next day I go over to B, and next week I'll go to C. And there's, I don't want to sit here and sound judgmental and condescending towards people like that, but they know whether or not they get that food because they are really in need and their family is really doing without, or if they're getting it because they can. And if they're eating the food and stuff, I guess it's, going to what it's meant for, but I guess it's the trust system, the honor system. But it's hard to sit back and watch what's happening in our world when we have people who are deliberately letting their own people that they are put in charge of caring for and providing for. And I'm not saying the government's here to provide for us, but when they create a need, when jobs are, and I don't want, like I said, I don't get into all this politics because he said, she said, but this is spiritual warfare. It really is. It's a battle. It's a battle. Now, in this that I'm going to read real quick, if it opens for me. This is one more battle that I have with my laptop. It's just very slow and trying to get something to open when you want it to. This is from Bible Study Tools, and I didn't come here to get religious or anything, but I just wanted to read what their definition is here. To understand the battle of spiritual warfare, we need to begin with acknowledging that we are in a war. Battles make up smaller components of the bigger picture. By definition, battles involve combat between two persons or between factions, armies, and they consist of any type of struggle or controversy. We are in some type of spiritual battle on a daily basis. Now, if you're a Christian, this is very true, because you may be very devoted to your Christianity and to going to church and to praying and trying to live a spiritual Christian lifestyle, or whatever other denomination it might be. And you may find yourself laughing at an off-color joke, a dirty joke. You may find yourself letting a curse word slip out. You may find yourself gossiping. You may find yourself overindulging in something or lusting. And it's always some kind of, and you don't even realize you're doing it. And then when you do, you catch yourself and you say, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that. And that's a battle. It's a battle within you. As a human being with these natural instincts to life or to flirt or whatever, battling against the Christian part of you, you know. We ask ourselves, why do we even want to fight spiritual warfare? It will do us no good. War is very controversial in a physical realm. Attitudes, beliefs, and convictions will transfer over the spiritual realm. Now, this is what I'm getting at here. When you spend time around people, and like on the internet here, sometimes I will be sitting and watching CMC's live, and I'll be listening to the chatter in the, comment section, and taking part in it my own self as well. And I find myself going, oh, well, maybe that person said something. That's a little bit, that's going a little bit far. And it's not just her, it's others as well. And sometimes I catch myself going, oh, I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't say something like that. I should take that back. It's just our human nature. But it carries. When you spend time around certain people, when you spend, like if you're a Christian and you go to church regularly and you live I'm not talking about like falling to your knees to pray every 5 minutes, but when you're trying to live a clean Christian or spiritual life, and your friends invite you to go to a party, and then all of a sudden people are bumping and grinding and drinking booze and smoking and cussing and laughing and listening to, rap, sex rap or whatever it's called. And you're sitting there and you're going, okay, let me get in on some of this. You've just lost that battle. You've just given in. And that's what they mean by this. It will do us no good to educate ourselves on the battle. The attitudes, beliefs, and convictions will transfer over the spiritual realm. So if you maintain an attitude or a conviction that I'm not going to a party like that, I don't want to be put in a position where I might drink, and I don't even want to use that term drinking, because myself personally, I do not like alcohol, and that's a personal decision. I don't like it because the people that I've been around that consume it cannot control themselves. They cannot control their ability to not use more than what they should. And they get out of hand and they become buttholes. So that's the reason that I'm against alcohol, and that's just my own personal conviction. And I'm not judging anybody who decides to take part in a few drinks or whatever. I've been known to take a few drinks here and there, but when it gets to the point that you have to worry about, are they going to take one too many drinks? You don't want to be around certain people because you know how they behave when they are drinking. So you don't want to be around that. That's a spiritual warfare. That's a spiritual battle. Demons, and whether you believe in actual demons, like my husband was watching this show, Lucifer, and the guy's like really handsome, and then all of a sudden his face will turn to the devil. Whether you believe in that as like an actual physical devil, demon, or whether you believe in it as a spiritual, whether you believe in it as some type of something inside of ourselves that becomes dark, whatever you believe in when you talk about demons and devils, they come, whether it is in the form of an actual physical person that I truly, fully believe do exist. And I believe my ex was one. I believe CMC has those tendencies in her. I believe there are many, many, many of these people gravitate to the internet. Because it's a world where they can be whatever they want, they can say whatever they want, they can behave however they want, and people laugh about it. But there are some people who look at it and they go, there's a little bit more to this than just somebody who's high, or somebody who's just acting like a fool, or somebody who's just wanting money. There's something more inside of them that is darker, and their spirit exudes this just impurity. You know what I'm getting at? Maybe you don't. Maybe I don't even know. But the spiritual realm, there is a battle going on regardless. We are either victors or victims. It's how we behave. It's like I was talking the other day about people will turn to crime when their belly is growling. These people that I'm talking about on the internet have already turned to crime. They've turned to crime because it's an easy way for them to not have to work and still be able to buy their own cigarettes, their booze, their drugs, pay their bills, buy the food that they want at the restaurant or whatever, while all the time they are being very dark. They are liars, they are cheaters, they are manipulators, they are game players. But it's getting to the point now that it's not even those types of people. It's everyday moms and dads who are sitting there going, how am I going to make this paycheck stretch? Or I might have lost my job, and how am I going to make any money that I have stretch? How am I going to buy food and still pay my bills? What is going to happen to my kids? That starts working on their mind, and they start looking for ways. And they might turn to ways that they wouldn't normally turn to. That is a spiritual battle. Because even though they may not be looking at it from the standpoint of Christianity or God or whatever, it's a battle that they're having within themselves. And addicts have those battles. I know all of you who know an addict or are an addict or a recovering addict know that. And every day we face some kind of battle in our existence. Mental health, and let's face it, people, if you still have good mental health on a daily basis, and you don't stress, and you don't fret, and you don't worry, and you don't get upset and angry over what's going on in the world, then you must really have a good, healthy connection with God. You must have a good, healthy connection within yourself, a good, healthy connection, and worry-free, and a good spirit, and no battles going on within yourself. But I've been struggling lately with sleep. And I'm going to tell y'all something. This may come across as cuckoo crazy. But the other day, and honestly, I was probably so sleep deprived the last week or so that I may have typed something into Google without thinking, and just, you know how stuff, you sit here and you think about something. You think about ice cream, and all of a sudden there's 14 ads for ice cream, right? So it could have been that I typed in something. I know I had looked up melatonin because I was like, I got to do something to try to sleep through the night because I've been waking up every night. So I'm on YouTube and I'm scrolling around looking for something to watch. This video pops up in my suggestions about, why are you waking up every night? And I'm like, what? Who said that? And it's like, why are you waking up every night between 3 o'clock and 5 o'clock? Well, lo and behold, I wake up at like 3:30 every night. And last night it was like 1 o'clock, But this guy, he's like talking about this, and he says, when you get woken up at a time when the house is peaceful and quiet and everything is and you're in a place, you're sleeping, your mind is at rest, your spirit is there. Your spirit's still there. Your mind, the rest of you's asleep. You're not aware of what's going on around you because you're asleep, but your spirit's still there. And he starts talking about how your spirit is being woken up because your spirit is bothered. Or because God, or maybe not God, maybe something else is trying to get to your spirit. So you hear people all the time saying God's been, we all have heard CMC back in the day when she was, going through her wild child phase before the court calmed her down a little notch. But the Lord's been working on me, you guys. We hear people say that the Lord's been working on me, and we hear people say the devil's been working on me. I hope and pray that it's the Lord that's working on me. But I know this, when I wake up at 2 or 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, I am in fear. It's not so much like I'm scared and I think there's something in the room and I'm like looking around like, who's there? It's not that kind of fear. It's more like I'm aggravated. I'm mad. Why did you wake me up? Why did something wake me up? Why can I not finish through the night and sleep? And I'm telling y'all what's the truth. I am just so fed up that every night when I go to bed, it's like I have psyched myself up for it, It's like I know it's going to come. So this guy on this video, he says that's the time when our spirit is being bothered by something. It's either God, it's either our psyche, it's either our own guilty conscience, or it's some kind of darkness, some kind of something that's battling and wanting to create some type of spiritual battle in us. He says that's the time when you need to start praying. And pray and ask God, what is it? What is it? What am I battling here? Why am I being woken up? What is the message? Is this some kind of dark entity? Some kind of demonic thoughts? Some kind of sadness? Some kind of anger? Some kind of fear? Something working on me to try to take away my peace. Because when you're asleep, when you're sleeping, even when you're having a rough time at your job, when you're having a rough time in your relationships, financially, whatever, when you're sleeping, you're at rest. You're you're peaceful for those hours. Whether you sleep 3 or 4, 6 hours, for the most part, you're resting. Your spirit is being bothered by something that does not want you to be at peace. And this guy says it's time to start praying. So the other night this happened to me. I woke up at like 25 after 3 after having watched this video. And I just started praying, and I got up out of bed and I sat in my bed I come into the living room and I sit in here and I just sat there and I just prayed. I just prayed in the dark. And I just prayed for like an hour. I prayed for all my family. I prayed for everybody around me. I prayed for my country. I prayed for everybody to find, and I prayed that God would show me, or at least allow me to find inside of myself what it is that's causing this battle with me. This lack of, this waking me up every night. But this guy in this video, he says, what is our instinct when we're woken up in the middle of the night? What is our instinct? To try to quickly go back to sleep. He says that's the time when we need to stay awake and pray and think and search for these answers and search inside of ourselves. What is the one thing that's causing me this lack of peace? What is the one thing that's disturbing my peace? Well, I ask myself that. I ask God that. I ask all of you that. And I pray on it. And last night I prayed on it when I got woken up. And I'm telling y'all, if I don't get some sleep, I don't know. But is this a form of spiritual warfare? That's what this guy says in this video. This is a kind of a form of spiritual botherment. Something is disturbing my peace and disturbing my... it's a battle within myself, or something wanting to create a battle in me, because when you are tired and you have a lack of rest and a lack of sleep, you are not on your game. My dog hears something outside. But I'm telling y'all, I just wanted to come on here and talk about this. And I really feel like that even watching CMC and the other day, the video that I made where I was talking about this other person exhibiting narcissistic tendencies while refusing to admit and living in denial about their own behaviors and engaging in these battles with other people, and then threatening them and saying, y'all need to leave me alone, and then turning around and threatening them and saying, I'll get my revenge and stuff like that. That's spiritual warfare, but that's a spiritual warfare that you're creating yourself. So I sit there and I ask myself, am I creating a spiritual warfare by making videos talking about these other people and their lives? Am I spending too much time worrying about what other people are doing and not enough time worrying about my own self? And, you know, I really don't know, but I know this. I just want to sleep. You know, I don't want to be moody, and I don't want to be like tired. I don't want to have to wake up in the morning and drink huge amounts of caffeine just to get woke up and moving. But that's what's been going on with me, and this has been taking place every night for a week or longer. And I change positions in the bed. My husband, I'm like, change pillows, switch pillows, move this, move that. He's gotten to the point that he gets up and comes to the couch because he sleeps like a, big old baby. And I'm laying there like, what, why can't I go back to sleep? And when I do go back to sleep, I wake up again. So it's like that guy in that video said, and that's what I'm thinking. I'm not getting to the core of what's causing me to wake up and what's disturbing me, So I'm going to continue to wake up until I figure this out. And I don't know what there is to ask, or I don't watch the news, and whatever I pick up on what's going on in the world as far as these foreign relations and all this stuff going on, it's stuff I see on the internet. So maybe that's my answer. Maybe I need to and I know that that's the truth. We all do. Each and every one of us can admit that if we're being honest with ourselves, that we could all spend a little bit less time on the internet. Now, I sit here and tell you all that even as I get ready to upload this video. But seriously, I'm just, I don't know. I just sit and I read about all this. And how do we know that there is a spiritual realm if we cannot see it? Should we believe in it? I'm not here to talk Christianity or anything like that. But I do, like a friend of mine, this friend of mine, we were talking a while back, a couple of months back, about a couple that we know who have had some really rough battles in their marriage. And her husband was in the background. He could overhear us talking, and he said it's spiritual warfare. Because my friend was getting really mad because she was like taking the woman's in the relationship side. And she's like, I just can't believe he did this and he said that and he treats her this way and she needs to do this and that. And her husband's in the background, and he's a Christian. And he's like, it's spiritual warfare. You can't let it get to you. You have to look at it like it's not just the two of them fighting each other. Something is fighting them. Something is fighting to keep them in battle with each other. I don't know, does anybody else look at it like that? Because it had never really occurred to me that way. But if you think about it, what causes marital problems? Infidelity, lying, money problems, too much. One is overworked, or one feels like they're doing more than the other when it comes to the house or the kids, and they start to have resentment toward their spouse. Is this a form of spiritual warfare? The division that we have had in our country in the last few years over race, over politics, over these JABBS, pro and anti, over abortion, you know what I'm saying? It's divided our country, and our country's always been somewhat divided, but this has gotten deeper. It's now affecting all of us. It's affecting people who were never affected by any of this before. And what's really affecting us is the fact that we all, whether you are pro this or anti that, or whether you vote D or R, we are all consumers. We all go grocery shopping. Someone who's making $11 an hour working in a fast food restaurant and is shopping in the same grocery store as someone making $35 an hour, and they're paying the exact same price for eggs and milk and gas. So that unites us in the fact that regardless of how much income you have coming in, you're spending out the same amount. And the person making less is having it even harder because they don't have very much left after they spend it, And that's another form of division. Financial division. And even though there are some people out there who have resentment toward people who make more money than they do, for the most part, I think people who make less money are not angry at people who make more money because they make more money. I don't look at it like that. It's the attitude that I look at. It's how they treat people who make $11 an hour. It's how they treat themselves. It's how they treat the people around them. And the person making less money can be the exact same way. They can go around with a chip on their shoulder saying, everybody looks down their nose at me because I don't have as much. I don't wear as nice of clothes. I don't live in as nice of a home or drive a nice car. And they go around treating the people that have a little bit more than them like dirt because they feel like that they're being, mistreated. Is that a form of spiritual warfare? It has to be. Because regardless of whether you, I didn't mean for this video to run this long. I got started preaching. But anyway, the spirit is our psyche. It's our soul. It's inside of us. It's who we are. It's what brings us happiness, and it's what brings us sadness. It's always a form of spiritual battle inside of us, but it's when outside forces come and say, I'm going to take away what happiness you have. I'm going to take away what good health you have. It was just like I was saying about this one particular person on YouTube that talks about their poor health and how these battles that they're going through with these other people on the internet makes their health conditions worse. No, it's when you choose to take and engage in arguments and fights with those people that you weaken your own immune system, you weaken your own health, and you create stress within yourself. That makes you feel sicker. But I just wanted to share that with everybody about what I've been going through. And that's one of the reasons why I have not been real active on Facebook. you know, I just don't care about her. She is, like I said, I could watch every live she does, and I could do a breakdown of everything she says and does and her behaviors. And if you go back a year or 2 years since I started making videos about her, you'll hear me repeat the same things over and over again. So what's the point? You know? She's a narcissist, and I guarantee to you that she sleeps like a baby at night. Because they don't have a soul. They don't have anything that bothers them. The only thing that bothers them is when they're not getting what they want. So if there comes a time when she's not able to get her hands on whatever it is she's trying to get her hands on, or she's not able to pull the wool over everybody's eyes, or, you know, do whatever it is that she's trying to do, then her spirit, if you want to call it that, would be bothered. But see, the difference is when I'm bothered, or when you're bothered, we might pray, or we might sit silently, or we might journal, or we might watch a video, or listen to music, and we might think, how am I going to resolve this? How am I going to deal with this? What's going on in my life? How am I going to work it out? A narcissist and someone with a dark soul like this will sit and think, what can I do to get them to do for me? What can I do? What lie can I come up with? What game can I play on them? What scheme can I run? Because that's all they think about is themselves and how they can get the satisfaction. And a lot of them, it's not just money that satisfies them, it's how they go about getting it. Or whatever it is that they spend with that, you know, what they buy with that money. But anyway, I'm going to go. I appreciate y'all for listening to me. I know I talked way too long. And I probably didn't make a whole lot of sense. But y'all, I just wanted to share that and ask anybody else, because I saw somebody on here earlier talking about not being able to sleep. And it just really, I wanted to share that. I wanted to share that about coming upon that video and watching that, and the comments that people were making in the comments section about how they are going through the same thing. And some of them believe it's like ghosts or real actual spirits that visit them. I don't know. Like I said, when I wake up in the middle of the night, I am in fear, but it's not the kind of fear of like I actually feel like there's somebody there or something. It's not anything like that. It's more like a fear of like, not again. You know, I have this fear of like, what is going on here? What is going on that's causing this? Why am I in fear of am I in fear of some kind of change that's coming that I don't know about yet? You know? I don't know. If any of you know, feel free to enlighten me. I'm going to start trying to figure it out. I've been trying to figure it out for a week now, but I'm not getting very far because every night I wake up. And some nights I get up and I sit there and I think, what is bothering my spirit tonight? What is, you know, messing with me? And other nights I think, I don't care who's here. I don't care what's going on. I gotta get back to sleep. You know? But I don't. I fall back to sleep, but then I wake up. Fall, wake, fall, wake. Usually what I find's been going on is sometime around 5:30 to 6 o'clock in the morning, I finally fall asleep. And then I have to get back up. Well, I mean, I don't have to, but I'm the type of person that I have to be out of bed by 7:30, and that's late for me because I used to get up a lot earlier. And so 7 is usually the time when I start getting myself up. And if I sleep later, and a couple of mornings I've actually even slept closer to 8. I know my body needs the sleep. And I'm like, okay, well, what difference does it make whether it's 8 o'clock in the morning if I'm not getting to sleep at 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the morning? If I'm sleeping at 8 o'clock in the morning, then stay in the bed and sleep. But my mind starts going, get up, you lazy bum. What's the matter with you? You guys, I know I'm a cuckoo bird. Maybe I'm being visited by another cuckoo bird somewhere in the realm. I don't know, but I just wanted to talk about that. And if you find, I mean, yeah, you can make little changes in your neighborhood. You can do little things to help people. You can make changes in your home and in yourself by eating healthy and getting some sleep. But some of us don't. But you can't change the grand scheme of the world. And you can't change what politicians are going to do. You know, you just can't. So don't let your spirit be so bothered. And don't let your spirit be so bothered by these people on the internet. Because next week it'll be somebody else fighting and somebody else calling you a name or saying you're a cuckoo bird. Thanks for listening, everybody.